Okay, it should be recording now.
That's episode 6, right? I don't know how to count. I think it's episode 6.
Let me look it up, okay?
It is.
Let me.
I'm almost certain it is, but the early onset dementia's kicking in. You can
let
keep
me
this
look
part
up.
in. This
Let
is
me look
funny.
up my own YouTube channel.
Damn, is that what it's gonna be like in on the
in 20
This is episode
it sure
New
is.
Year's Eve 2016?
This is all going in, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. That's what I said. This is
Welcome back to King's Court episode 5. No, Brennan.
Hey, wait! It's not episode 5.
No, it hasn't been episode 5 since 2022.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Oh.
Why do I sound normal?
Brennan, can you hit the intro?
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to episode 6 of King's Court. Today, unfortunately, we are down a man. He had the obligation.
More than a man.
More than a man, a legend, a god, even.
More than a man to me.
More than a man to me. You know what? My pronouns are he, not him. Because I'll never be him.
I'll never be him.
Well, for those who are wondering, we're down Nick.
You got very sexual there, Jordan. Oh my
It
god.
wasn't sexual, it was
You're like-
longing. Like I was sad and depressed.
Jordan doesn't get depressed, so he doesn't know what it sounds like.
Yeah.
So, so it's just me and my 2 boyfriends, Jordan
You fucked me while recording.
No!
and
I didn't-
Caleb.
Who is mixed DNA with a hyena.
No, look, okay, actually, that's something we're going to talk about right now before we go into
Excuse
anyone's topics. No, fuck
Are you
you.
coming into your own hyena powers?
No.
Are you
Back-
coming out of the Sahara?
Back in elementary school, Nick, who's not here, sadly, would be able to attest to this, but
Who can't defend himself?
our French teacher said that I had in front of the whole class several times, called me out for having a donkey laugh.
Did you used to have a donkey laugh?
No, it's very much similar to what I have now.
Just like that?
I just thought that would be something to share. Go fuck yourselves,
Okay.
both of you.
Oh,
No, that was funny.
wow.
Well, here, to even it out, since he can't defend himself, Caltrop's 100. He's not even here today.
Nobody's gonna tell me what that means. I don't know what it means, and I've been laughing at it.
What caster? Okay. So let me explain this for both.
we
Oh
should-
shit! I need to go on
we
Do Not
should
Disturb so
explain
people
this.
can't fucking DM me right now.
we should explain this term because we've been using it and it wasn't
Yeah.
explained on a podcast.
so-
I don't think.
So it comes from the greatest live streams of all time, which is the StarCraft live streams with Day 9, In Control, Tasteless, and Artosis. In Control is dead now, but the joke does revolve around him, which is sad because In Control was like a really big part of the community, and like everyone got really sad because In Control had a great sense of humor. He had this really dry sense of humor, but because it was so dry, he was able to like push the boundaries of what would normally be like, you don't say that, but it was totally like he could do it a lot more easily because of just how his humor was, right? But anyways, the thing about him is a lot of times, and you'll notice this with dry humor people, a lot of times when he was talking, you couldn't tell if he was being serious or joking because it was like the same fucking voice, right? So he would repeat because they're like watching these games from like pros, right? They got together to just like have a LAN party and have like a fun time. They're like, oh my god, he's doing that, and like In Control will be saying some shit that like 99% of the time was fucking garbage. It was not accurate at all. It was like just meant to trip up the other fucking casters, right? Like it was just him like trying to like feel his way around and see where he could like start undermining and like destroying everything from within. So
Christ.
They eventually started referring to him as Castor Caltrops because Artosis was like, yeah, like you could be sitting here, you could be watching this. He's like, I've just tuned Jeff out at this point. He's like, I don't listen to what Jeff has to say. Jeff could be like, haha, Artosis, he could be like, Artosis, your fucking house is on fire. You need to leave, right? Like, your house is fucking burning down. You need to leave. And I'd just be like, that's really funny, Jeff. And just like, keep talking. And Nick has taken on the role here of being Castor Caltrops. He has insightful, accurate stuff, but like as he's talking about insightful, accurate stuff, he'll like warp it slowly as you're talking about it into just poking fun at shit or whatever, and just like
I
undermining everything else that's been said.
Like when we were talking about our predictions and he started naming magic cards.
Yeah, exactly. And he did it with such a straight face that at first, if you didn't know Pokemon really, really well, you might be like,
he's talking about like moves or something.
Like that's what I did. I was like,
when he starts speaking,
and then I realized. That
I knew he was talking about magic cards the whole time because I know Pokemon well enough.
Yeah. Nothing gets past you, Mr. Smarty Pants.
Thanks.
I'm sorry.
Well then, I guess I'm just gonna go hang myself.
So hold on. So you guys know that I listen to the podcast at work for quality assurance.
Yeah.
I got to the part where I did like the mind games from last episode, and I got like legit mad. I was like, "Of fucking course I didn't get Brennan. What the fuck?"
Really?
Yeah, I was like, "This guy fucking knew what I was up to. He fucking knew something." Fucking
so
man,
good.
he never hands me. He always. I was just like getting like myself worked up. my coworkers were like, "Dude, what? Like you're like moving around different. Like what's going on?"
You're moving around different.
Jordan, you took on my form when we were at the LCBO.
I know, and I hate it. I'm becoming you.
That's been the plan all along. It's why you can't read my mind.
Yo, Jordan, eat a Snickers. You're not you with your hungry.
No, I'm
Daddy's hungry.
No.
All right.
Dr. Bill, except it's like a black and white. Your body is made out of 90% water, and Daddy's thirsty.
Oh god, I hate that meme. So, all that aside, how's everyone's week been? Well, like week and a half actually, because we recorded the other one early.
Oh yeah.
Week and a half. Aside from actually like getting myself in a lather, I've been all right. I've been like just nothing.
Explain
just
what you mean by getting yourself in a lather.
That's what you just talked about.
I was just like
okay. Because the thing I'm most familiar with lather is like with shaving with a straight razor, and I was like, what are you talking about?
No, I was more so like whisking myself into like a fine whipping cream. You know, like I was just getting myself going.
He was for no reason too. Frother on his brain. Bro was like, "Of course I can't try it on him."
Because at the same time, like I was like making jokes and everything, but then it's like, "Oh man, like I couldn't get him. He's always no butting me. He's always no butting me."
Holy!
Why does he do that? It's funnier if he goes with the bit.
Not funnier to me. This is why we have to do couples therapy.
Oh.
This is why it's named couples therapy.
Oh my god.
Despite all that, though, we surprisingly get along well.
Of course we do. It's our toxic trait.
We gaslight each other.
What do you mean? That's not a real word, Jordan.
Yeah, gaslight? Babe, I think you're hanging out with those friends that I don't like. Maybe you should get rid of them.
Holy shit!
I think you should stop going to school so often. You're learning new words.
Yeah, you shouldn't be... Like, that's not even a real word. Like, look it up in the dictionary. It's not a real word. Oh, Urban Dictionary? That's not a real source.
That's not a real source.
Unless it's in Webster.
Yeah, you should. Like for real though, you should stop seeing your friends.
Oh, no, of course. It's like, fuck 'em.
Did you almost say for real you should unsubscribe from your friends?
Yeah, no, I wasn't going to say that, but I will. Yes, and you.
Fuck that. That's for pussies. Caleb, how's your week and a half been, big boy?
Jordan, are you done talking about your week?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, no, intro.
Yeah, no,
it's fine.
his whole fucking. The only thing you did this week was get upset that you can't fuck with me.
Nothing of note. It was just work. I just worked.
Okay. That's
And
fair.
until I quit my job, I can't talk about my work.
Yeah, that do be how it be.
Yup.
That's fair. I've been having a pretty decent. I mean, ups and downs as per normal. What did I want to talk about
Are
entirely?
you adjusting well to your new job?
Yeah, pretty well. I mean, the hours are killer, but pretty well.
But I'm sure that paycheck, though.
The paycheck is nice. That paycheck,
though.
The
You can
paycheck
afford to
is
take me to
really nice.
Tahiti now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll fucking leave you there too.
I'm just sorry. I'm just double checking I can do this
Jesus
before I start.
Christ. Anyways,
Are you
Anyways.
doing taxes right now?
yeah, fucking
Perfect.
Castor
Alright.
Caltrops.
Oh,
Anyways,
so
I'm not finished, Brennan. You
yeah, I was
fat
gonna tell you to
fuck.
continue. Right. Holy shit.
Okay.
Bro,
What else?
if you got time to text, you have time to jump in, bro.
Well, no, fuck that. I was making sure I'm okay to use a bit.
So I watched some more of the and we're not gonna talk about it a ton, but I do want to talk about it a little bit. The Pokemon World Championships. They were sick. I haven't
They
seen
were
all of
nuts.
them. I've seen I mean, it's like fucking 12-hour streams, right? So
Oh,
fuck
sure.
that. And even skipping just to the matches, it still takes some time. I've watched a little bit of day 2, but day 1, there was some strats coming out. There was some actual dope,
Oh yeah.
amazing shit. Like someone was running their Zacian with, you know, the whole thought of, well, Zacian like wants to run Behemoth Blade, wants to run probably Play Rough or Sacred Sword, but it's probably Sacred Sword.
You saw a little bit of play rough, but it was mostly Sacred Sword.
Yeah, you know, it's Behemoth Blade, Sacred Sword, fuck, I forget the
Protect and
Protect and
I saw
and-
somebody using Quick Attack. I saw some people using Play Rough with that whole kit.
yeah, but
It's-
the point here is Sacred Sword and Behemoth Blade are like the big ones,
Right.
as well as Protect. So someone just was like, what if I don't use Protect and instead use Imprison on my Zacian? Because if my Zacian outspeeds your Zacian can't do anything anymore. Because Imprison
Yuck.
says if you know you can't use moves that I have. And since
Damn.
Zacians are all running essentially the same set, that's insane.
Yeah, since he's the top of the meta and has that kit.
Yeah. It's insane.
It's... We also saw some sick plays with we saw a Ditto. I only saw it once. And the Ditto turned into the enemy Zacian, and
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was, but there was a game that lasted one turn. Like the
Yeah,
first
it's
turn
'cause-
happened and the person forfeited, but I
Yeah.
can't remember which one it was.
Well, I do know that one is because Calyrex, not Calyrex, sorry. What's
Kyogre?
his? No, the ice dragon.
Oh, Kirim.
Kirim Dynamaxed and got Behemoth Bladed, and because Behemoth Blade's super effective and it dealt double damage because it was Dynamaxed, it knocked him out on the same turn, and then it was just like, yep, we're done.
Yeah, that's just you put all your eggs in one basket and the basket broke.
Yeah, but there was some sick play. I forgot to talk about Incineroar, which is the best Pokemon ever made. Not
He
because
was
he's all over
I
the
think
place.
he was as common as Zacian.
Yeah, well, that's because Incineroar has access to Fake Out. I'm just
Oh,
gonna
Fake
go
Out's
over
good.
go
And
over the
Intimidate.
kit. So first of all, it comes down to Intimidate. So it makes things like Zacian, it drops their attack by quite a bit, which is really strong.
It's really only one stage, but it hits both opponents.
Yeah, it hits both the opponents, And that one stage can make a difference. Because, for example, Zacian's whole shtick, why he's so good, is because of Intrepid Sword. When you throw him out there, he gives himself an attack boost. An opposing Incineroar drops him back down to neutral. Which means all of a sudden, there's a lot of calculations that don't work anymore. That he can't knock people out where he should be able to. Right? In one hit. The other thing is Incineroar has Fake Out, so when Incineroar enters, it can then use Fake Out, and Fake Out is a priority move and causes the opponent to flinch, which means they don't get a move. It deals very little damage, but basically you can just go, hey, my Incineroar's in this turn, I don't want that thing doing any shenanigans. Now, you can only use Fake Out for the first turn that they're thrown out. Now, obviously, if you switch Incineroar with something else and then throw Incineroar back out, it can use Fake Out again, but whatever. Incineroar also is a Fire Dark, which is insane defensive typing. It has access to Flare Blitz, which is huge damage. It has access to, what's the dark move it likes to run?
Parting Shot.
Parting Shot we'll talk about in a minute.
But Darkest Lariat is its
Darkest
move.
Lariat.
That's
which is really good damage. It also has access, and it had all of this before Sword and Shield, and it was already like the best, because sure, it doesn't win the game, but it's the best supporting Pokemon. It can go on your team regardless, and it's gonna perform. And then they gave a Parting Shot, which means that it can lower the attack and special attack, and then switch out with something else on the same turn. So essentially, there's something in there that you want to bring a Pokemon of yours out to deal with, but they're threatened by the neutral damage. Because, obviously switching out, they might get hit when they come in. And if that's a lot of damage, that could knock them down to half health. If the other thing outspeeds them, even if they have the type advantage, you're done. It doesn't matter. But with Parting Shot, oftentimes, first of all, Incineroar will oftentimes take the damage and then switch. And even if it's faster and switches beforehand, it lowers the damage on the way out. So it's fine. Incineroar is insane. It did a lot. And I completely forgot about it. The Shedinja shenanigans are fucking hilarious. So for those of you who don't, and Jordan, you know about Shedinja, right?
Of course I know about Shedinja.
Here's why the Shedinja shenanigans were so good. Remember how I told you the other week that you got 6 Pokemon, but you can only bring 4, okay?
Yep.
They would have Shedinja on the team and then half the time not even fucking use it. But because it was there on the team preview, you have to have an answer to it. You can't not, right? You have to bring in things.
Because you can't hurt it unless...
And then because of that, people would just build around well, what's good against Shedinja? All right, let me build around that and then have a Shedinja on my team. Right?
Mind games.
Oh yeah, the mind games were fucking hilarious. The first time we saw a Shedinja on a team preview, also the guy fucking brought up a Shedinja plushie as well and put it down. So we're always gonna use it. And then he didn't use it any of the matches. He didn't use it at all.
That's big brain plays right there.
It was so good. There was some.
Let's take the mind games to the next level.
Oh yeah, Shedinja was super fun. Yeah, there was some really... I want to look up the winning team, because I haven't seen that yet.
I have the winner, if you want to look up his name. EMBC, also, that was his nickname. Eduardo Cunha. Cunha.
I want to see for more than just...
Of course. Of course. I just figured I got the name. Congratulations to him. I'm told it was an 11-0 win streak. Which the site remarked was the most dominant win in a decade, which I believe, because 11-0 is stunning. Yeah, he didn't lose a single fucking match.
Yeah. Yeah.
So congrats to the mans who won the shits. And while Caleb's looking that up, I'm going to talk about Whimsicott.
Oh yeah.
We saw a lot of Whimsicott because Whimsicott's been meta for a long time, and it got reinserted into the meta when it got its fairy typing. Which was right after Whimsicott came out in Gen 5, and Fairy-type came out in Gen 6. So Whimsicott, as one of the fastest support Pokemon ever, has been in the meta the whole time. And trust me, Caleb and I made teams and fought each other and modified our
What did
teams.
you say his name was?
I'm told... Let's load again. Eduardo Cunha for the VGC Masters division, which is the one we were watching anyway. So extremely fast support Pokemon, which basically means your Tailwind is for free. Like, your Tailwind will just boost everybody else. And an interesting, based on that that Zacian in prison that I saw, I was like, okay, I'll run Whimsicott with Encore. And that, I mean, that worked really well against Caleb. I'm not sure how much it'll work against
I have a different name
anybody
here.
else, but really?
Yeah, I have Eric Rios. From Spain.
From Spain?
I mean, this guy is from Portugal, or so I'm told.
Is that rigged? Because the
Also,
next game is set in Spain/Portugal?
I do have. There's a screenshot of the tweet from Play Pokemon saying Eduardo Cunha is the new 2022 Pokemon VG Master Division champion. Anyway, we're splitting hairs on that. We'll find out the truth in a second for you, loyal listeners. But Tailwind Whimsicott is so good, especially when you have a slower team. The only other way to solve that is a Trick Room, which is also an awesome strat to mess with the speed game. But the Encore was a really nice disabler because at one point Kayla and I were both down to one Pokemon, and it was Incineroar versus Whimsicott. And Incineroar wins, by the way. I don't know if anybody needed conversation about that and convincing about that, but
Yeah.
His last move was Fake Out, and I Encored him into Fake Out. And then the Encore ran out, and I was like, I don't know if I can force him back into Fake Out, because the last set was Encored. And you can. It works like that. Encore chains. So...
Hey!
So
this is the Pokemon Championships for... No. We want
Did
the
you look
World
at the trading card game?
No. This is for championships. The Europe Internationals. Yeah, okay. I'm in the wrong area.
Oh. Come on.
Come
Unprofessional.
on.
Well,
But,
it's
yeah,
not
that's...
fucking showing up, dude.
I just looked at Pokemon Champion 2022 video game or some shit. But, yeah. It's... some very good support. But Grimmsnarl is also huge support Pokemon this time around, because it's also an extremely fast Pokemon. And a strategy I saw was to give it a lagging tail and then teach it the move Trick, which swaps
that's also that's
an enemy's item with yours. And it's so what I saw somebody do with it is swap an Assault Vest Kyogre to a lagging tail Kyogre.
Yeah.
Which is just hilarious.
Because Lagging Tail makes it... So here's why this works so well. Lagging Tail makes you move last in the priority bracket.
Doesn't matter how speedy you are.
But, so you're thinking, well, Grimmsnarl can get knocked out, but Grimmsnarl has access to Prankster, which means that Trick is a priority move.
Mm-hmm.
So that means it doesn't matter. He can use Trick before the opponents do anything and switch the Lagging Tail.
Yeah. It's insane. No, it's such a good combo, and I was reminded of that when I put it on my team as my second support Pokemon for the fighting Caleb on Pokemon Showdown. But I was like, oh yeah, I saw a Trick with Lagging Tail, and then I saw Prankster, and I was like, that's what it was. So like, support Pokemon, they're like, you can do so much with fucking with your opponent with support Pokemon, and I'd go so far as to call Shedinja. It's a support Pokemon on your team, even if it's not in the 4v4.
Oh yeah, they talk about that a lot, and I have to agree.
Because it's just, to see that, you have to come with something ready for it.
Yeah.
Like, you have no other option. And Caleb and I have been playing randomized Emerald Kaizo.
Oh god.
In spirit of the finale of our Pokemon Blank game, but it's randomized. Nuzlocke series is going to be, it gets increasingly harder as we play more. So, like, certain things will be more cut off, certain things will be this, blah, blah, blah.
Until we hit
And,
Kaizo.
until we hit Kaizo, in which, like, playing the game is all you're allowed to do. You can't level caps, obviously, but Caleb and I ran into an issue. In Emerald Kaizo, there is a fight with Wally, your secondary rival, the green hair boy who was sick or something, and then they put him in like a town with healthy air, and he gets better. Shut up.
Me when I moved to Ireland.
Yeah, same. I mean, Ireland is pretty nice, but
I'm sick of this North American air.
what the fuck?
There's smog in the air.
All right, Jordan's on the environmental kick. But yeah, so there's this required fight that's in the game anyway, but they amp it up in this game to be a level 70 Ralts, which is not that scary at all. In fact, in the real game, it's pretty much a cakewalk because it's just a Ralts. It takes like one dark type hit and it's dead. However, you might have hung on to the word I said earlier, which is randomized. The level cap for that gym is level 25. We had to try and fight a random level 70 Pokemon with our team of level 25s, and that's gonna be a fucking nightmare.
I imagine. I bet. Even
We're gonna get whenever that comes out, expect us to get walled into that and just what I want is a montage of us getting our ass kicked to it in place of all of the attempts, because I mean we'll probably be live streaming at that point, because that'll be a couple that's a couple iterations that's a couple seasons of the series down the road. But I would love like a fail count where it's just that every time,
Oh yeah.
because you better believe we're restarting. We restart until we finish the game, and there's gonna be a lot of that. I'm gonna cry, like, fit on stream. I'm gonna shit my pants, probably.
You are totally right. It is Eduardo. I can't find his team.
You might just have to scrub through the YouTube video, but Jordan, you got any bits while Caleb's inundated looking for the facts and logic?
No, there's a little bit I want to talk about, because that wasn't just the the only thing. Otherwise, I've what was that? Fuck! Now I've completely lost it, man. Some other things going on.
I never watched any, but were there any Salazzle?
No.
No, we did not see any Salazzle plays, unfortunately.
It's because there's just better ways to deal with Zacian.
100%. I totally get that, and I totally expected that. It's just the perfect thing to take out a fucking steel fairy. Is a dark fire or poison fire.
Poison fire.
Yeah, but even then, like, Eternatus can deal with Zacian, because Eternatus has access to Flamethrower, has access to Sludge Bomb.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, Eternatus is just scary for Zacian.
Yes, sir.
And Zacian, like, likewise, the other way around. So...
Not in the story mode.
Well, according to the lore, actually.
Where it took Zacian, Zamazenta...
and the protagonists.
Hops, Wooloo, and my
redacted.
Yeah, whatever. This is a choose your own adventure.
If you chose.
And my Metagross.
Anyways,
tell you?
Fuck you. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Jesus.
I will
Somebody
steer
get
this.
dominant
I will
over
turn
here.
this car around. Anyways, I've also been playing some Divinity Original Sin, and I forgot how fucking good that game was.
Oh yeah, that's Caleb and my couple therapy. If that's definitely not out yet.
We might get Jordan in there too. We could even do a 4-player couple therapy.
three-way couples therapy.
I think
Couples is therapies.
Yeah, no, that'd be really funny because if we grab like Nick, Jordan, like if we grab the podcast group here, someone in us is going to take Lone Wolf and they're just going to stay away from everyone else and become extremely overpowered way too quickly.
I'm gonna be Caltrops the whole time.
Nick will be Caltrops. Are you kidding?
No.
I'm gonna be
Caltrops.
We could all be undead and then just poison everyone and heal.
No, I'm gonna be the one living dude, and you guys are gonna have to watch the poison around me.
I'm gonna be the one. I'm gonna be the adorable, like, aw, he doesn't know what he's doing, kind of, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like when
We'll put that the protagonist.
We'll put that shit on tactician mode too, so Jordan dies in every encounter in like the first fucking turn.
It's like anytime when like Among Us was popular and it's like, oh, I'm not good at it, and everyone's like, oh man, oh, he doesn't know it. Oh, it's adorable.
That's like the opposite of Town of Salem, where it's like if you were like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, it's my first time, they just lynch you. Like you just die in front of the entire town.
Oh yeah,
I'm totally not good at that game, but I've won an awful lot of times just by doing nothing at all.
Well, yeah, because
I only play it with you guys, and you guys.
We run away with the game.
You guys just like cause a lot of heat and a lot of just noise, and everybody's looking at you guys.
The whole point about the Town of Salem is that it doesn't matter how good you are at Town of Salem. It matters how good you are at infuriating and convincing people with not the highest IQ. We're gonna put it like that.
You either there's three types of games you get in Town of Salem. Either the town does absolutely nothing, and it's the worst game ever because nothing happens. Like, the basic shit will happen every night, and then nothing else.
Yeah.
Or you'll get the opposite end of the spectrum. You'll get the absolute sweat lords who are like demanding that everyone do their last will exactly the way they do, and it's like, honestly, just make a record of shit, and if you don't want to, like, just be a fucking shitlord in your last will. Nobody gives a fuck. We're not playing ranked.
Yeah, I definitely remember that time. Like, we were all playing, and I remember I had, like, the jester role, or whatever.
Yeah.
And, like, on the first night, somebody killed somebody, and it had, like, a very derogatory, like, death note, or, like, killing note. And everyone was like, man, that was uncool, and I pipe up, sorry, guys, I didn't mean that. So they put me on the fucking stand.
And they put him right to the noose.
Yep.
It's just a matter of taking on the idiots, you know?
And then you get the rare game in the middle where it's actually a good game, and people aren't sweating too hard, but they're being intelligent.
Like a lot of different roles, like
exactly
a lot of different like stuff going on. Not like 17 fucking werewolves and 32 mafioso kind of homies.
Yeah, it's rare, but you do get games that are just right.
It's the same thing with everything. Every game is like that.
Oh yeah, well, that's not true. Mario Kart, the game is just right every time.
The game's rigged. The house wins.
No, except for
Doug
Rainbow
Bowser
Road.
shows up at my house.
I always win.
Oh, dude, Rainbow Road, 1v1 me, Rainbow Road.
Dude, 1v1 me, Rainbow Road, Plains Chase, Vanguard Commander.
One
Fox only,
Coconut Mall.
Fox only, no items, Final Destination.
VCG 2021.
Dakunut's only Battlefield.
Dakunut's only Battlefield. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Only Kirby.
God, just
Kirby's
fly around everywhere.
Anyways, so I've been playing Divinity. That's really good. It's kind of like, so Divinity, and I mean it makes sense because the people who made Divinity, I didn't realize this, but they made Baldur's Gate, which is a D&D game. Divinity feels like like it's not exactly D&D because, you know, things are a little bit different. And
if something's a video game, it has a very hard time being D&D.
Well, Baldur's Gate is just straight up D&D.
Oh, there's stuff that can be, but if it's not like literally just D&D, there's a very hard time making it.
Oh yeah, there's limitations.
Feel like D&D.
Yeah, but the one thing I think Divinity does really well, which is like, it's the thing I would point out the most about it because it's what sticks out to me, but it also doesn't stick out to me the most because everything else is really, really good. But this just, this is always relevant in every single time I played Divinity, is that the way you can interact with, liquids on the ground is huge because there's poison. There's like a couple different liquid types and they interact with each other. There's oil, there's poison, there's water, and there's also different things like rain,
like electricity. There's
electricity and water will like electrify it, but it won't. And it will do it in oil, but it won't in poison. But
fire burns
poison
but
and
water.
oil both will explode when they get hit by like anything fire related and like light everyone up. And but water obviously won't. Water will turn to steam, which you can hide within. Like there's all these cool things. You can also
there's a lot of cool like
you can also
dynamic.
freeze both water and oil and make people slip on it and shit. There's a lot of like applications for like it feels very D&D in that sense where there's a lot of outside of just I have these abilities for combat, well this works with this. There's a lot of terrain manipulation that you can do in sort of a video game sense because it tells you exactly how far you can move. It tells you where everyone is. You can see all this, so there's a lot of like terrain manipulation that you can do.
Very dynamic with its terrain.
Yeah, and it's just good. I love it. It's really good. And there's blood. Blood is another one. And like your skills will like affect these too. For example, if you're an undead, you get damaged by healing potions and healing spells, but poison will heal you. So you can actually walk into poison and like become super tanky.
Yeah.
Because you're healing every turn, and so like for example, something's on fire and you walk through it, you're lit on fire, which means every turn you're going to burn a little bit, and every turn you start your turn on fire, you're going to take damage from that fire. But if you walk through it, you take damage for like each step you walk through it, so you take so much damage to like sometimes it's better if you're in the middle of like everything burning to just stay in the middle of it, because you're going to take damage, but you're going to take so much more damage trying to get out. And the fire might only last 3 turns, that it might not be worth it. But you can like abuse that if you're undead walking through poison. But the enemies can abuse that too because they can light poison on fire, right? And there's other things like blood. Obviously, when you hit someone really hard, blood splashes onto the ground. There's a perk called Leech that says whenever you walk over blood, like you absorb the blood and heal yourself a little bit. So it's actually really it works in a lot of different builds where you can just heal yourself by bashing through and dealing like a ton of damage.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I really like it. I think Divinity's
a very dynamic,
good.
Very versatile game, and it's been a long time since I played it, but from my memory, it is extremely good.
Yeah, and besides that, it also has all these different abilities and skills that you can combine in interesting ways, and actually interesting characters and side quests, and a lot of the like I'm not going to say it's the best side quests I've ever seen. That's going to go to Underrail, which I've been playing a bit more, and I want to talk about Underrail in a minute too. This is basically my topics. I'm gonna go through.
We're talking about video games you like. Or that you've been playing recently?
Yeah, that I've been playing recently. Underrail, we'll get to Underrail, because Underrail is both a painful experience and an extremely rewarding experience. But Divinity, like, it doesn't have... Sometimes Divinity's fetch quests, or not fetch quests, side quests are just like that. They're fetch quests. Go over here, kill this thing, come back. It has a lot of that. I can't blame it, because if they're encounters or whatever, they're still done well. So I can't really be like, oh, this is bullshit, this is terrible, this isn't a really well designed game, because sometimes fetch quests are just kind of there to pad out the game. Whereas Divinity,
there's a lot of those types of quests that are just you can tell, like, it's in
They're just there
Skyrim,
yeah,
it's in
Skyrim's a great
Witcher.
example.
It doesn't matter how good the open world game is. Elden Ring has them too.
Yeah.
Where it's just, you can tell something's in there to pad it.
Yeah. Yeah, but
like all of Assassin's Creed. Heyo.
Yeah, no, that's a really good
999
example.
Korok seeds.
But the thing is,
yeah.
Just because it's in there to pad it doesn't mean it's bad, right?
No, not at all.
The difference for me, if I do a quest, I'm like, wow, that was fun and all that, then it's fine. It doesn't matter how short, doesn't matter whatever. But if I do one and I can literally feel like, oh, I'm just doing this for experience, or I'm just doing this for this item, and it's not, I don't enjoy the quest itself, then we have problems. Skyrim has a lot of that issues. Witcher, for example, yes, it has a lot of fetch quests, but I think its fetch quests are pretty good. Same with Divinity. Divinity,
of course,
its fetch quests are good. And Skyrim, I can't bash on it too hard because it has so much content in it.
That's what I was gonna say. That like those games are like so big, right? Like
yeah,
and that's exactly the thing.
Side mission, just like, oh yeah, we're going on a epic quest to do, like, this is almost like the main quest we're kind of doing here with this side quest.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is just go, I need 5 loaves of bread. And you're like, okay.
Yeah,
Sure thing, oh man.
But
that's not a bad thing.
No, that's not a bad thing. But there is a clear difference between when you go into a side quest and you can clearly tell that the developer even spent a little bit of time thinking it out and making it like feel like it fits in place with the world, making it interesting and fun, or whether they were like, oh, we just need something here.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the issue. It's unavoidable in some things. Like, for example, Skyrim, a lot of the quest givers will give you quests that are just like, oh, it's just here. But that's because they're literally randomly generated, because you can do them infinitely.
Yeah.
So I can't fault it too much, but and some of Skyrim's side quests are fucking awesome, like the Thieves Guild. That's fucking awesome. I love the Thieves Guild.
Dark Brotherhood.
The Dark Brotherhood's another good one. College of Winterhold is okay, but it's not quite as good. But those are I find I'm
always looking forward to the Dark, like, I'm looking forward to the College of Winterhold least.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if that's because it's in any way worse than the others, or if I just like the others that much more.
I think it's worse than the others. I think the College of Winterhold just isn't as good. But those are all also kind of like a big side quest. Skyrim, however, does have a lot of like miniature side quests that are just like kind of fun, and they're small, but they're good, right? Like bringing the Golden Claw back. That didn't feel like that was just thrown into the world, because the way the Golden Claw side quest is structured is, in order to progress the main story, you have to go to this mountain and go through this, where you will find the Golden Claw, and you need it to progress, so you have to pick it up. Okay?
Yeah.
And
if you're dumb like me the first time I went through that, you'd be like, what Golden Claw? And then you'd have to go all the way back and realize it's on the dude's body, and then go, oh, I'm stupid.
Yeah, but
and then pick it up and then go do the thing.
You have to pick it up, right, and go through this. But the exit for this dungeon, plops you out
on
in a way where
literally the other side of the mountain.
But the path to get back to where you need to go to progress the main story goes through a town that you've been to. You had to have been to this town already to get this far in the main story.
Because you're required to go there before.
Yeah.
Also, you really went south around the mountain? I went north.
Well, yeah, fuck, it doesn't matter. The point here I'm trying to say here is...
No.
The point here I'm trying to say here is...
Do you go south or north around the mountain after Dragonborough?
Okay, the point here I'm trying to get at is it plops you out basically right beside where this side quest is, so it doesn't feel... Like, this side quest is extremely simple, but it doesn't feel like, oh, they just threw it in for extra content, because I'm not going out of my way to do it. It just feels natural, like it progresses very well. And it just fits in with the world, and that's something that I can totally get behind.
The coolest thing is, if you walk into that establishment before in the game, you can find it out at then, because they'll be discussing how they lost something,
Yeah.
and you'll never know what they're talking about until you get there, and then you're like, oh, that's that. So,
well, actually,
either
you
way,
will know, because if you talk to them and you're like,
oh
hey,
yeah, they
you're
tell
missing
you.
something, they're like, yeah, we're missing the golden claw.
Yeah, but if you don't have it yet and you haven't played through it yet, you're like, fuck's that.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously,
exactly.
you know, it's a golden claw, but that's what I mean. It's very obviously genuine in the form of, like,
world building.
world building. Exactly. It's like, oh yeah, this is something that they lost.
Yeah, it
Maybe
makes
I'll
sense.
find it.
It's another great example is when you go up the mountain in the main quest line to talk to the Greybeards, where this guy's like, my legs are really tired. Can you deliver this to the Greybeards? Because you're already going there. The thing here is with these quests is, like, and these two are, I admit, are kind of bad examples because they follow the main story anyways. But
I think that makes some good examples.
But at the same time, you can apply this elsewhere, right? And the game does at times apply like some interesting mechanics or some interesting little quests by just you're already here and you get approached and it like starts a quest. So you didn't have to actually go out of your way to start it. So it's just kind of in the back of your mind and it just kind of you're in the area for it.
Yeah, and I think that counter to what you said, I think it makes it all the better because it highlights the area that you've gone to. And of course, with Skyrim, it's infamous for this. There's no part of it that unlocks before anything else. I don't think, anyway. You can, quite literally, if you know where you're going, just go to almost any part of the world.
Yeah.
And I think if you're already there for something, and something else is happening on the side, you're like, well, no, this place is just a regular place. Like, shit happens in towns all the time. Doesn't matter if you're there or not.
Yeah.
It just so happens that it's like, oh, you're going up the steps. Do you mind giving me a hand? And I think that's...
Yeah. For example, I think one of the best ones is in Markov, which I think you have to go through in the main story, but you might not. But when the first time you end up in Markov, so a dude just like pulls a knife and stabs someone else. If you're quick enough, you can kill them before they kill the other person. But you probably won't be the first time you're playing. You can do it. You can 100% do it.
Interesting.
And it the quest still starts regardless either way. But the thing is, that's such a great way to start a quest because it's like, holy shit, this is really interesting. But you don't have to do it, and it's not your reason for being here. But it's so interesting that it like draws you into trying to find what's going on.
I think that is the best example because that's the one where you're not approached, you're not already on your way there. Like most times you go to Markarth, you're just like strolling in. You're like, oh, cool, there's a hold here. Let me just fucking go up to this shit. And then somebody gets stabbed right in front of you, and you're like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Jordan, I know you play Skyrim.
I've played it a little bit a long time ago.
That's fair.
I actually played it after I played Fallout 4.
Oh, really?
When I got my Xbox in 2016 was about the time that I really got into the gaming world.
Right.
So and Fallout 4 had like either just come out or it was like just coming out, and I hadn't played any of the other ones, but I was like, oh man, I'm gonna do like that. I want to play that game, and I did. And when I played Skyrim, I was like, oh wow, it's just like Fallout 4. Duh! But I noticed the similarities, and it made me, while I was playing Skyrim, it made me want to play Fallout instead.
It's the most interesting thing because I get so much the opposite. I love Fallout's world, and I love what they like, how they build it, because it's pretty much the same as Elder Scrolls, but I prefer high fantasy to sci-fi futurist. It's just what I prefer. So whenever I go to play a Fallout game, I'm like, I could be playing Skyrim right now.
Yeah, and that's exactly what.
It's such an interesting thing to see that.
It's actually why, like, I prefer high fantasy. It's actually why I like the Warhammer 40k universe so much.
Yeah.
Is because Warhammer 40k is like sci-fi. there's straight up a lot of sci-fi stuff, but it feels more in the vein of like high fantasy. Like there's also very much high fantasy stuff in it as well. They've done this brilliant job of like mashing the two together, and it feels like it follows the structure, if this makes any sense, and I'll explain it a bit more in a second, of high fantasy than the structure of sci-fi. Because the structure of sci-fi, not always, but oftentimes, is a lot more toned down, if that makes sense. Like, it's a lot more down to earth just via how, sci-fi is.
Yeah.
Sure, you have exceptions, and I'm gonna give you, like the difference here is the early Halo games versus like the ones with the Forerunners in it. The Forerunners feel more like a fantasy thing, because the Forerunners are so, and they're cool because of that. But they're so like different, and they're less grounded than the rest of the game is.
Yeah, and they were more shrouded in mystery in the first 3 games.
It's like the reason why I like StarCraft is because it immediately sets the precedence with like the Protoss and the Zerg, and even with where we're at with humanity. Yes, StarCraft is sci-fi, but it has just like a lot more depth to it than I would consider like the regular sci-fi has. Not that sci-fi doesn't have depth, but it's less grounded. And because it's less grounded, it has the ability to work. It can work with more stuff by making its own rules instead of going, this works with physics, and that's why this works, right? Like we could conceivably do
the science behind sci-fi, because it's you're bound by the same internal logic that we perceive the rest of the universe to be bound by.
Whereas with the only way you can write it,
exactly, and with high fantasy, you're allowed to shatter those rules, like our show that we will continue to make until we probably die, because all likelihood it doesn't come out. But we've mashed sci-fi with high fantasy, like so many others, like 40K, like Warhammer 40K, and of course Destiny. I was going to mention Destiny too.
Destiny's a great example. Yes,
but you've just taken in those examples, you've just taken what is grounded realistic physics, and you just kind of mash it into some high fantasy shit.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's boom. Like with the Golden Age in Destiny, it feels so sci-fi, but at the same time high fantasy. Yeah. It's still grounded in reality. Like, it's like nanotechnology, sure. Robots that can contain a human brain. I mean, like,
sure. But then
you could conceive of that.
Yeah, but then it's like, oh, the Traveler can just terraform things. Why? Because it can.
Because it's magic, exactly, and it's
right.
That's the shit I love.
That shit. It's like
that's why I like.
Why does a Traveler do that? Fucking because, dude.
Because the light does that, right?
He's a good dude.
And the thing is, as we get more and more into like the lore of Destiny, as you play through it, it grounds itself. It does ground itself where what the light can and can't do. You kind of intrinsically understand it, but it's
and we're even seeing it now with the darkness.
But it doesn't follow the laws of physics like everything else.
Exactly.
And that's exactly it. Like back in Destiny 1, I remember like a lot of players were like frustrated, like especially with like the speaker himself. Like why does the Traveler do all this? Why does the speaker only know like this, that, and the other thing? But it seems like after like the speaker dies or disappears or whatever,
he's dead.
He's dead. He's 100% dead. After the speaker is dead, like it doesn't matter anymore. Like the Traveler is back emitting light, and it's like, boom, here you are, just fucking vibing. Like
and they've done such a great job in the recent years of disclaiming what those things can and can't do.
Yeah.
Like I said, they've given the darkness like memory, gravity, shit like that, and the light's just, I still don't know exactly what it does, but it's the opposite. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
And it's never more like clear how the rules work and how the Traveler is a he, how the Traveler just kind of does what it wants. And that is never more like exemplified than in the Witch Queen. Spoilers for the Witch Queen, but the Traveler has granted light to the Hive because it fucking wants to.
because it wants to, and it actually goes with the plan to be sealed in a throne world that's been disconnected from the darkness,
so it can survive.
Because it would be safer there.
Yeah.
And it's such an interesting, like you said with Warhammer 40K, you just like you've mashed it together so well that it's like it feels like both.
Yeah, like
and it's the best parts of both.
Yeah. For example, the thing that I really love that I want to talk about is the Space Marines, and how they are, because how they are makes sense. But then you think about it more, and you're like, oh, that still doesn't make sense. But then if you know the like the lore, it makes sense again.
Those who know. Those who don't know.
And I'll explain it, because the Space Marines are like, they're bigger than your normal person, and they've got this huge fucking heavy ass armor, and they can like sprint way faster than a normal person.
They've got like 3 lungs.
They're like fast enough.
They're decked out in a Range Rover, the whole 9 yards.
They're fast enough that like if you shot a rocket at them, there's a good chance they would dodge it. Just like move the fuck out of the way, and they're in like heavy armor that's like so heavy that a normal person it would crush them. And then we
like
learn,
the Mjolnir seat, except like 5 times as big.
Yeah, and then we learn that they're genetically modified so that they have things like more muscle tissue than normal. They have things like 2 hearts, so this is why like if a shot does blast through them and they keep fighting, and you're like, oh, that was a heart shot. Well, yeah, it makes sense. They have a second heart. They're not dead yet.
And they got 3 lungs,
like I said. 3 lungs, shit like this. That like enhances their capabilities. Their bones are harder, etc. And then you're like, okay, and things make sense. And then you stop for a minute and go, but that still doesn't like in human capability. That doesn't like push them far enough up to do these feats that we see them. And it's like, well, yes, but the thing is, they are made from the DNA of their Primarch, which is made from the DNA of the Emperor, and the Emperor is like way above a human. So they are
essentially a god.
They are enhanced sons of demigods, more or less, right? So they are not only in their genetic augmentation a cut above humanity, but in their genes themselves, they're a cut above humanity.
Yeah, it's like you took Captain America and like made his genes super soldier already and then gave him more.
Yeah. It's basically like, hey, this is alien DNA that's stronger than ours, and now let's enhance it. Right? So if you know the lore, it's like, oh, this makes sense. But like, so it's like sort of grounded in both, because you know it's grounded in the sci-fi of, well, of course they have 2 hearts, they have their stronger stuff. Like it makes sense why they can do these things from a physics standpoint, because their bones are harder, their muscles twitch faster, all this. But why do they have all these is like from a fantasy origin, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And then obviously...
And that's a lot of the stuff for Destiny as well. It's
100%.
It's like, oh, these are just people, and the Y is high fantasy. They got like, there's a little robot in their pocket that
calls me Stud Muffin.
That calls me Stud Muffin, exactly, and gives me the powers of a god.
Well, Halo, I think, is also another great example.
Halo is, Jordan mentioned it earlier, it's an amazing example of it.
Because, like, your regular, like, soldiers are not what we see most in Halo. We see these super soldiers, but that's the thing. They feel a lot more grounded. Master Chief is insane, not because he's so much more powerful than every other Spartan that's ever come, right? Like, that's not why he's insane. It's just that he's really, really like good at combat. He's really
dedicated to the
smart. Here's
the thing. It actually is far more high fantasy, because in Halo 4, I'll get to it after, but like,
yeah, he's somewhat Forerunner.
I think in the lore, it's like his genes are already really good. Like we mentioned, they're like top tier human genes, and then the augmentation, obviously. And then in Halo 4, the librarian, who I don't know enough about the Halo lore, so I'm just going to skip that part, basically says, I'm unlocking your genome you have like the full banquet of humanity's evolution, which is essentially just the Forerunners.
Yeah, but another thing is that his suit has some Forerunner technology in it. But the point here that I'm trying to make is like he is very grounded in that it's not like, oh, there is no other Spartan that could ever achieve what he achieved. If you gave the gear that Master Chief has to another exceptional Spartan, that's the thing. He's exceptional. He's not unique in the sense of nothing is like him. He's just exceptionally good.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, and that's no different than like just your regular standard affair story where your hero is plot armor, right? Like he's just hero.
Like the Guardian. The Guardian is whisked away in canon by being like, oh, only the you, like each individual person is the Guardian. In like you get 6 other people, they're all the Guardian, but you're the Guardian.
Yeah, and that's what I love about. That's what I love about
it almost feels like the same thing as Master Chief, because
I think it feels a little different because
a different Spartan could be the Master Chief.
No, but here's the difference. Here's why I say that this is different. A regular human could pull off the shit that the Spartans do with extreme difficulty, but they could. A regular human in the Destiny universe could not pull off what the Guardians do. Because the Guardians have access to abilities and things that a regular human just couldn't do. And the Spartans, it's not that they have access to those, it's just that their base abilities are enhanced.
That's fair.
Right?
And mixed with their like armor abilities, because each Spartan, especially in Halo Infinite, each Spartan is given their own unique ability. Right? Master Chief has that stupid grapple hook. And like you collect like the armor of like the dead Spartans as the story progresses, and then you get more health, or you get like a cloak, or you get the ability to
repulsor shield
or sprint faster or whatever, right? Like it that was sort of the edge that all of the like new Spartans got back when Master Chief was just Mjolnir Mark II or whatever the fuck. Like back in Halo Combat Evolved, like all the Spartans were the same, just Master Chief was the only one to survive. Like,
or one of the few
to survive.
Like by Infinite, he's the last Spartan too. But at the time of Combat Evolved, he was one of very, very few that actually survived even the training.
Yeah. And here's the thing, in
call the
Halo 2
Spartan.
is the one with Reach, right? Like, we see in Halo 2 that, Chief is good, but, like, there are Spartans just as exceptional as him.
No, Halo Reach is the one with Reach.
Oh, Halo Reach. My fucking bad. But in Halo Reach,
it happens before the entire timeline.
We see that there are Spartans just as exceptional.
Yeah,
right? Like,
Noble
just as strong. And they can fail. Right, like in all this, and it gives a lot, and it's not that they can fail against astronomical odds. They can fail against just like bad odds.
Yeah, like a pot shot sniper after the city is turning to glass, and you're dead.
Yeah, that's the thing. They can just get killed, and that's why I say
it's very real. It's very real.
Yeah,
that you can just die.
Yeah, I see that. Like Halo for me is a lot more grounded in that sci-fi. I don't consider it as high fantasy. It has some aspects, but most of them are in the lore rather than in the actual like games, if that makes sense.
Well, and I love that difference because it's still done really well.
Yes.
It's just taken aside from the main medium of the game, which was designed to be sci-fi, but they've added all this lore that doesn't always intersect with it, and I like it a lot.
Yeah,
and that's when you go back to Destiny, right? Like, the alien races stem from different like aspects of sci-fi and high fantasy, right? Like you look at the Fallen, and they're not so much sci-fi high fantasy as they are just like another alien race similar to like humanity, right? Like they're
I love that
they were the first one
introduced.
Right,
Because
and then
of
you look
that.
at the Hive, and they practice legit magic.
Yeah,
like actual
legit
magic.
sorceries. Yeah,
And same deal with the Taken; they stem from Hive magic, right? And then you
Yeah.
look at the Cabal, a highly advanced
War race.
war
Yeah.
race that thrive on their technology. Less so, like they don't. Like
and
you even saw
technology
it
that
last
can
season.
rival the quote unquote gods of the universe, that being the light and dark. If you
And
could
you
call
saw
them that.
last season with Keitel, who didn't want to practice that Hive magic because she didn't believe in it at first, and then she through hand wavy exposition
She had to quote unquote
right.
for really no reason.
And then you look at the Vex, which are literally just they're not literally robots. Don't
They're
flame
juice.
me. They're juice, but it's sci-fi juice.
Their
Like-
their collective consciousness.
Yeah, no, that's exactly
They are sci-fi juice.
Shining light and
Yeah.
magic. I had to wait to give it the comedy. Somebody else had to talk. I'm sorry, Jordan.
Okay.
You were the sacrifice.
All right. It's okay. I'm just like that.
Standing here.
Yeah, but
Did you guys ever see the new Lightfall stuff?
I have not yet,
I
and I'm
have
gonna
not.
save it for a little bit. But
I haven't been on Destiny in a
yeah,
hot
Kayla
minute.
hasn't played Destiny in a hot minute. But
we beat Lich
Kingsfall
Queen
just
and I
came back
don't
out.
fucking remember anything about it.
Kingsfall just came back out, so
That's sick.
I'm
we gotta
looking
look
forward
to
getting
beating that. Yeah,
Oh,
we
hell yeah.
we pretty much have to do it because there's no excuse now that it's in Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Can't excuse it. I used to run that like on a weekly basis.
But one thing that I wanted to wrap up on is why Nick
Wrap
is
up.
absent.
What are you talking about?
It's almost an hour and a half.
Oh.
Or we got like 20 more minutes before it's an hour and a half, dog.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah, so I wanted to lead into the wrap up with a nice little story. I asked for permission. I am allowed to say the story vaguely for comedy. That's what I was asking Nick about. But the reason Nick was obligated was because he's moving, and it's the reason behind the move that gets me tickled so pink. Caleb and I were talking about it the other day, and it's like when you boil it down to what it really is, it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's
Jordan,
an
it's
essential.
essentially a
I'm gonna-
midlife crisis
Dead
where
ass?
yeah, no, dead ass. So Nick's parents want to move because his grandparents are moving because they find it hard to live in a one-story house or a two-story house when they're getting up in age. You know, the stairs. That's a big
Yeah.
problem, and they don't want to get an acorn stair lift or something.
From
So
the
they're just
movie Up.
yeah, nice. So they're just moving into a one-story house, and so that got Nick's parents all freaked out about like, we got to do the same thing. Like we're getting old.
Yeah, yeah.
So they decided to move into a one-story house preemptively
We're
to-
getting old.
to get themselves and their quote unquote their kids used to living
Being
in a one-story house. Which I mean, like, you can tell me that they're like, oh, we want to get the kids used to being around in a one-story house. That's not the truth. Y'all got midlife crisis.
100%.
Y'all got frightened by the inevitability of your own mortality.
Yikes.
So you wanted to fucking
No, it was
as Caleb said, flat.
what?
You said it in the car while we were getting Taco Bell. You're
What
like,
did I
you
say?
make it flat.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, I did say that. I did.
Yeah, oh, I remember now. Thanks. Thanks.
Oh,
it's-
sucks being no butted, huh?
Bro, it's
Yeah.
been like 2 days. Oh my god.
It's been 2 whole days, yeah.
Yeah. You expect me to remember that shit?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't even remember what I did this morning, so no.
Dude, I was asleep this
fair,
morning.
fair. I wish I was.
Wrecked.
Yeah.
Got him.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway,
just
Jordan.
roll right back into the intro. Start the
Yeah.
All right, Jordan, do you
Yes.
have a topic that you want to talk about?
Do I have a topic? Not really. I just couldn't help but think about like all that we were talking about before with my favorite franchise of all time, Assassin's Creed. But
Oh, you're gonna
it-
get
'cause
some
it-
flame for that.
No, it
From me,
worked.
it's not going to be the comment section.
Oh,
Yeah, we don't
You're
have enough people
gay.
for a comment section yet.
good.
I am the comment section.
I expect to see, Brennan, you make a comment on this one.
Oh,
I will.
Assassin's
I'll do
Creed, more like Assassin's Creed.
it.
Well, no, it runs like similar, like
Thanks,
to the whole like high fantasy and sci-fi trope with with the precursors and the people who came before, with like Ezio and Desmond and Altair.
Oh
being able to control these pieces of Eden, they call them, to whatever. Like it was mind control because humans, like Homo sapiens as a species, were slaves, and they were meant to be slaves for these godlike creatures called the Isu, which were just human people, but like
super technological,
but built a little bit like me, like just different.
Oh, right. built stupid or incorrectly, as some would say.
Yes, exactly, 100%. But and that further, that's like always like the back theme. Assassin's Creed used to be a franchise about.
Always, I think you mean it used to be the back theme.
No, they've actually
it's actually
into Valhalla.
No, actually, no, you're right. It used to be the back theme. Now it's the front theme. Because Assassin's Creed used to be like a showcase, like a time capsule of like the era, and like let's show like what would happen if entropy existed in Renaissance Italy. What kind of technology would they use? Mm-hmm. And then what kind of technology would they use in revolutionary America, like during the Revolutionary War?
Okay, before you go any further, hot take: Assassin's Creed 3 is very good.
Assassin's Creed, that's not a hot take, bro. Assassin's Creed 3 is like amazing.
No, okay. Here's why it's a hot take. Everybody, it's one. Actually, the best is Black Flag. The best is Black Flag.
Is Black Flag.
No,
I couldn't fucking play Black Flag for 5 minutes.
I played that game like 5 times.
You gotta play more of it.
Dude, I tried. I forced myself to play as much as I could of Black Flag, and I just couldn't.
So when I play all the Assassin's Creeds, you're playing Black Flag with me.
Yeah, 100%. Anyways, 3 is largely regarded by the community as the worst.
The only reason they say that is because
until the newer ones.
Yeah, well, the only reason they said that was because the 3 games before that, they had an awesome, suave protagonist, Ezio Auditore, and then they get like this melancholy, like angry boy who is right to be so.
He's absolutely correct.
But I loved it. I loved it's like like a lot of the things in the later Assassin's Creed that I don't like how they've implemented them, like hunting, like like the boats.
Yeah, the naval combat.
The naval combat. Naval combat was so good in 4, Black Flag. And then it went downhill. The hunting was so good in 3. The hunting was actually had me engaged when I wanted to go and hunt. Now it's just like a
deer ran in your way? Let me just use my giant greatsword from hell and kill it really fast.
Yeah. No,
they've really given a lot of.
It's not hunting anymore at all.
No,
it's not.
It's more like butchery than hunting.
It's resource gathering.
Yeah, it's just resource gathering.
It's not like, you killed a deer, you get deer pelt. It's now like, you killed a deer, an eagle, a wolf, and a bear, and you get leather.
Yeah, for example, like the hunting in Assassin's Creed 3 was honestly as good for me as the hunting in Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
Yeah?
No, I'd say so.
And that's why I love Red Dead 2. Like, I could just spend
Red Dead 2 is amazing.
Hunting on a video game.
Honestly, that's what I've done for most of my time playing Red Dead 2. I don't think I've played much of any of the story. It's mostly just been online hunting.
Yeah, dude, I get my money up online.
Dude, that's my power fantasy, is just going back to then and hunting.
My power fantasy is going back and making the buffalo extinct by my hands.
Yes, of course.
Single-handedly make an entire species extinct.
I wasn't born in time to hunt Siberian mammoths, so I have to do what I have to do.
Yeah.
Also, that's why I love Monster Hunter World, or Monster Hunter in general.
But like going back to like it was always like in Assassin's Creed, like the Forerunner. Oh my god.
Whoops! There you go.
the precursor technology, because they call them precursors
collapse
too.
has begun.
I know. The technology was always like a back thing, like, oh, you're fighting for the Piece of Eden while single-handedly getting rid of all the tyranny in Renaissance Italy or fucking the
and there was
Caribbean.
more of this like thing between the modern day assassins and the modern day Templars.
Now with like even Assassin's Creed Origins didn't have too much of that stuff. It did its job, and it set out like the origins of the ideal, like the ideology of the group, right? Like, oh, this is why we fight. This is why we fight in the shadows. This is blank. And then Odyssey comes out, and you're just a Spartan who you find out is like a demigod, like an actual demigod.
You just don't have the hidden blade.
You don't have a hidden blade. But they fixed that in Valhalla by giving you a hidden blade, and I like that game. And I like Odyssey and Valhalla,
But
they're not Assassin's Creed games.
Exactly. If they were just a Spartan game and a Viking game, I would love them to bits. But they have Assassin's Creed in the title and no assassins.
Yeah, and you're not even remotely an assassin.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla feels like I'm playing, or rather, what I've seen Logan play because I don't own the game. It feels like I'm playing For Honor.
Oh, that's
at
sick.
certain times.
But
because
the idea,
you're just swinging around a weapon at people.
They did a cool idea where in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you can drink the soup and receive a vision, and you can play in like Asgard, like as Odin kind of thing. And
that's dope.
And they're like, but they don't have like god powers as if you would imagine them from like actual Norse mythology. It's
in actual Norse myth. Okay, you get that out of control.
Okay,
in actual Norse mythology, legit, because I read a lot of that when I was a kid. The gods are nowhere near as absurd, even as like the Greek gods.
100%, 100%. But
no, okay, let me put it this way: they have some things that are like absurdly broken and busted, and way more than like the Greek gods could ever be. I shouldn't even say that, because the Greek gods have some absurd stuff. But, like, in reality, they're nowhere near as, like, grandiose, if that makes sense.
And yeah, well, the thing is, they kind of work it into the theme in the story, right?
Yeah.
They play with the fact that the gods did, in fact, exist, but, how they do it, like after you're done with like the Vision storyline and you complete the Vision storyline and you return back to regular Eivor, you receive a small cutscene of all of the characters during that like Vision, but in a futuristic Isu era like cutscene.
Yeah.
So what they did with those visions and what they did with the idea of the gods is they made them real, but they were just Isu. And the reason why you see Asgard the way that the stories like tell you
portrayed.
Yeah, they portray these stories in a way that like it's this mystical Fantasia land, but that's only to stop Eivor's mind from crumbling into mush, because they wouldn't be able to.
Because he wouldn't be able to conceive of.
You wouldn't be able to conceive of a land of like that. So it's easier to just be like, oh well, he's tripping on drugs and he's imagining Asgard as the stories say.
Yeah.
Or Cassandra's tripping on acid, so she's living how the gods want her to like live or whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they used powers of not powers, but they used like a machine that can like it's an advanced machine that creates a homunculus out of you, so you can essentially be reincarnated.
Jesus.
So Eivor, spoilers for the end, who cares? Eivor is actually Odin and has been the whole time. And Odin, like Eivor as a character exists and Odin as a character exists, but Odin wants to take Eivor's body, like is trying to take it back so he can be reincarnated, but Eivor's not letting him. Because Eivor wants to be his own thing.
That's actually insane.
It's pretty
that sounds like some great lore. I'm gonna white out the Assassin's Creed part of Valhalla and just play that.
100%. But
I'm gonna go in thinking it's For Honor and not Assassin's Creed.
I don't like that. Like that's cool as like maybe a novel, right? Or like a comic book or like a movie or something. I just want to go back to like the timepieces that like, oh, what kind of technology did they use in the fucking 70s? Like,
well, I want to see Leonardo da Vinci build his tank that he drew in reverse so people couldn't use it.
The thing I liked about the old Assassin's Creed is there was a lot more importance placed upon the locations and the side characters and the bosses. It wasn't just, oh wow, this is a named enemy, I better kill him.
Yeah, like an Assassin's Creed 3,
actual,
right? Like there's George Washington.
Like even Washington. 4. Even, like 4 was the last one that did this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Where but there was also I don't know past 4 besides because I didn't play Unity. Unity I think did it, but
Unity had Napoleon Bonaparte, but aside from that, like I don't know too many. I'm pretty sure a lot of the characters are real. Like
but the thing here is with the older games, there was more of this sure, you were an assassin and you were this master, like you could destroy people in combat, but you were an assassin. You could also easily get killed, so your whole shtick was trying to assassinate your target, not trying to beat your way into their room and brutally murder them. Like
true.
there was this believability with the world. You were this super, you had all this great training and stuff. It wasn't just, oh, I have higher level than you, get fucked.
I didn't like the RPG aspect of it.
Right? I love RPGs, but Assassin's Creed is not an RPG and it shouldn't be.
I like the idea of unlocking like tools. Like in Assassin's Creed 4, right? Like you unlock the hidden blades, like
or the hook blade in 2.
Or the hook blade in Revelations.
Yeah, Revelations. Sorry.
Yeah, you get the hook blade, and that's a different way to traverse the world. All of a sudden, like buildings don't seem like a grueling task to climb, or just evading enemies isn't like clunky and dumb, right? Like it's But I've been playing a lot of Unity recently, and that one got a lot of bad reception from launch. But as like it progressed,
afterwards,
if they fixed it, and then they ruined it again. They made online playability not accessible.
Really?
Yeah, they did. Oh, and they say they're gonna fix it, but they're not gonna fix it. They're just gonna wait, and then when the new Assassin's Creed is revealed, they'll be like, "Oh well, we're not working on that anymore." But I love Unity's fluidity and the way like you can traverse the world and like you can free run down or like just. It was really good, and the Xbox One, it was an Xbox One like launch title or PlayStation 4 launch title.
Yeah, it was so good for traversing the world.
And you're like, oh man, and playing with your friends
don't have that.
Like if they went back to their roots, I would love them again. Like,
yeah,
I doubt
and there's
that
nothing
they will.
wrong with this bigger open world aspect, but the thing here is there needs to be more of a focus upon the fact that you are not this overstated RPG character. You have to use these things that you have as an assassin to get to your targets and stuff. Like there should be more of a focus, because you can still just mow your way through in like Assassin's Creed Revelations, Assassin's Creed 2, even Assassin's Creed 1. But like it feels so much better, and it's so much clearer to do it in these smart ways. Right? Rather than just I've built myself smart.
It's all tacky, like especially in 3, like to get to a point where you're massacring all the people, all the guards or all the bad guys in a certain area, you have to actually express some sort of tactics.
Yeah.
Rather than
100%.
mow them down because your stats are built the right way. You actually have to think around them and counter them correctly.
It was like a puzzle game at like in the very beginning. It was like, oh, if I take out these 2 guys, will this guy see? Or like, oh, if I just poison this guy and get everybody out of the way, I can just sneak past him and I don't have to kill anyone.
Yeah, right? and like, the thing is, there are still some setups that you can do that with in the newer games, but the problem here is it almost feels like more work to do that.
Yeah, why would I do that when I can just charge in and kill everyone with my abilities? I hate the abilities in that game. Like in both Odyssey and Valhalla. Like, you don't need abilities. Like, you don't need abilities. Like, I'm sorry?
Well, you do because of how the game is made. But it shouldn't be made
because
with that in mind.
It shouldn't have been made because it's not Assassin's Creed anymore. It takes away from what it was.
If I assassinate someone, they should die. It doesn't matter. They should die. It shouldn't be like, well, they're
take,
higher stats
their
than
health
me,
bar.
so they only take an 8.
They did something similar in Assassin's Creed.
Cora's trying to break my TV and my Xbox simultaneously.
Oh, no. They did something similar in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, the one taking place in industrial England, where like you level up as the story progresses you. So that means you have to make sure your gear is like well equipped for the next parts. Like your
I
guns,
don't mind
you
that,
can.
Though.
But like that was the difference between the other ones with your weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
Like in Assassin's Creed 3 and Assassin's Creed 4 Rogue, you had to essentially just click counter and kill, and you could kill anything. There are some guys that you have to do a little bit more with, but essentially it was just click B, click X.
Yeah.
They're dead.
But you also died a lot faster.
And you also died a lot faster if you didn't focus. But in Syndicate, how it worked was like the guys are higher level, so my weapons, I can't just go in with the starting weapon. I have to
you have to,
which I like. Like you get new weapons, you get new guns, you get whatever, but every single time the hidden blade was an instant kill. In Origins, they changed that.
And it should be. It should stay as an instant kill because that's the point of it.
Yeah, and if you're like, well, I want you to fight this cool boss that we made, then you need to place him in an area where I can't get a hidden blade kill on him.
Or have him be quick enough to counter it.
Or put him in a different game.
Yeah, or put him in a different game. Exactly. You have other games. You have For Honor.
Yeah, make him the next character in For Honor.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't know if they've released anything new. But
they have for Honor. I think I've heard something about.
It's the Medjay.
The Medjay.
It's who is it? It's
he's an Egyptian
police.
An Egyptian, right?
He's actually sick because he can hit you with a staff or break his staff into 2 like blades.
Oh man, that's actually kind of dope.
That's actually really sick. I might have to try. I might have to look into it again. But how long have we been going? Has it been?
It's been an hour and a half. We can wrap it up if everybody's ready.
I think we can wrap. Yeah, because I mean we talked about.
We don't want to go for another 2 hours.
Yeah, we don't want to go for another 2 hours, especially not with the 3 of us. We get tired.
No,
No, I am already tired of you people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know this relationship is business only. Jordan's known that from day one.
Yeah, dude, I showed up at 6.
I don't fucks with any of you.
No, this relationship is more than just that. What? Okay. Whoa.
He fucking left.
Whoa.
No, that's it.
Really?
That's it. Really? Seriously?
No, that's the send off. I'm ending it.
Oh, I was gonna do an outro.
You want to do the outro? Get the outro quick.
Thanks everybody for joining us on this episode.